The archaic legacy of sex and gender testing returned to amateur boxing, and Imane Khelif is at the center of controversy again. A.B. Hernandez had her day in the California sun, while protest and arrest tried to dim it. Competitors spoke out and supported her.
And as an adult, you shouldn't be hating on a 16-year-old.
But questions about inclusive policy and the Trump administration's attacks on California remain. In Washington state, a repeat victory and repeat rancor for Veronica Garcia, but the champ clapped back. The latest target of the Trump anti-trans crusade was met with calls for action and a school board standing up. There was pride and joy at the start of June, but we also look at the fear, loathing, and boobs. Got it in gear with the cat ears. Hello again, everybody, and happy Pride. This is Transpositions Sports. I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb. Right up front, Imane Khelif, Olympic gold medal boxer from Algeria, has been ordered by World Boxing, the new world governing body for amateur boxing, to subject herself to a sex test. The governing body put forth the pending policy in a statement last Friday. The introduction of mandatory testing will be part of a new policy on sex, age, and weight to ensure the safety of all participants and deliver a level playing field for men and women. Now, World Boxing officials also named Khelif in their statement. 2 days ago, they apologized to Algerian boxing officials for naming her, but they did say in their original statement that she must undergo sex testing to take part in any world boxing competitions and will be barred until she does so. Now, the Algerian fighter, along with Taiwanese gold medalist Lin Yuting, were subjects of scrutiny last year after both allegedly failed a sex test during the 2023 World Championships by the International Boxing Association, the previous governing body that was charged by the IOC to run the Olympic tournament. The IBA were stripped of their accreditation by the IOC, citing issues of corruption, which included the lack of transparency and due process for the cases of both Khelif and Ting. And after further investigations, the disqualifications of both were found to be misleading, given that both had competed for years previous without incident. Now, World Boxing is the second governing body to announce that it will engage in chromosomal testing that the IOC previously abandoned in 1999. World Athletics, the track and field global governing body, announced in March that a sex testing program would be in place prior to their World Championships this fall in Tokyo, Japan. Now, since the Olympics, Khelif has publicly discussed her future plans. Most recently, in an interview with Sky Sports, she said that she seeks to defend her gold medal at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, despite threats from the current presidential administration. The U.S. State Department has also hinted about not even allowing her into the country in 2028 due to the presidential executive order on February 5th that would ban transgender women from entering the United States for the purposes of competing in sport. Here's what Khelif said back in March.
Your dream would be to win Olympic gold.
The second gold medal, of course.
A second gold medal in America.
In America, Los Angeles.
Donald Trump has not been very polite to you. Does that concern you?
بالنسبة لهذا الشيء يعني راح نجاوبك بسؤال واحد. يعني رئيس الأمريكي هو دار قرار، هذا قرار يخص الدولة الأمريكية، ولكن أنا حبيت نوضح أنه أنا مانيش متحول جنسي، يعني ما يخوفني ولا شيء، لأنه أنا الحقيقة مانيش متحول جنسي.
Two of the biggest stories in the trans inclusion debate played out in state high school track meets on the West Coast this past weekend. In California, CIF championships at Clovis, Jurupa Valley High School junior A.B. Hernandez had a big meet, tying for the win in the high jump with two other competitors, finishing second in the long jump, and winning her specialty, the triple jump, with a leap of 12.87 meters. That's 42 feet 2 3/4 inches if you're scoring at home, to win the state title, sort of. Second best in terms of distance, Kira Grant Hatcher for St. Mary's College High School was at 2.32 meters, But due to the CIF's regulation change from last week, Hatcher is awarded a gold medal and considered a state champion alongside A.B. Hernandez because, well, God forbid we put a cis kid second place ever. Now, away from the competition, there were protests on the ground and in the air. There was even an arrest when a pro-trans supporter broke a car windshield of an anti-trans protester. But among the athletes, despite the CIF ruling and the drone of ugliness, there was camaraderie in competition. Young athletes embracing each other, even if they knew deep down the CIF rule change was a joke. I'm telling you, many of the adults could learn from the kids.
She doesn't deserve any of the hate. And as an adult, you shouldn't be hating on a 16-year-old.
Just to push me to want to be better is amazing.
But that was a stark contrast to the Washington State High School Track and Field Championships in Tacoma over the weekend. Veronica Garcia, senior from Spokane East Valley High School, defending Class 2A state champion at 400 meters, her state's first transgender state champion in any sport, took to the 400 through a lot of hostile adults, and she did it again, winning the 400 meters in 55.70 seconds, her second straight state championship. And unlike Hernandez, it seemed that the transphobic attitudes of the adults rubbed off on the kids, such as the case of second place Lauren Matthew. She's from crosstown rival West Valley in Spokane. And after finishing second first, refusing to get on the podium, later held up a sign saying that she is the real state champion. Oh, by the way, when Garcia got her gold medal, this happened.
In a time of 55.70 from East Valley of Spokane, Veronica Garcia.
Yep, adults with the booze. Now, Garcia responded with a good deal of grace. She stated to the Spokane Spokesman Review, quote, "Maybe it didn't have the intended effect considering it made me angry, but not angry as in I wanted to give up, but angry as in I'm going to push." But she also brought some vinegar when it came to the booze. She said, quote, "I'm going to put this in the most PG-13 way. I'm going to say it's a damn shame they don't have anything else better to do. I hope they get a life, but oh well. It just shows who they are as people." Now, some people are going to say Garcia wasn't gracious and didn't take the high road. I disagree. This kid largely has taken the high road for the last 2 years. Veronica Garcia is 17 years old. She's a teenager getting booed by adults, some of whom have a political agenda. And the kids took that agenda. Lauren Matthew and some of her teammates did even when they won an event. They won the 4x400 relay, where East Valley with Garcia as part of the quartet was third, and they still took a shot at her. Matthew was quoted as saying, "I feel like instead of people talking about our success, they talk about the success I had while racing a biological male. Like, oh, I got second to a male, or Lauren did this. It's not talking about my accomplishment personally. It's about I did this because he did this. So I feel like I wouldn't be talked about if he wasn't there." The misgendering, that's what gets it for me. Matthew was outdone by the Tutwater High School track team as a whole. I mean, earlier in the week, in front of their high school, they had a big banner saying XX versus XX first over XY, a lot of anti-trans nonsense. And their relay team at state wore shirts saying, "Keep girls sports female." And their school board did pass a resolution against trans girls in sports. So Tutwater High School pretty much said where they are. But you want to know what the real sad thing is? Not a single person stood up for Veronica Garcia. No one at least had the humanity to say that the booing wasn't cool, no matter how you feel about the situation. Not even in her own school, apparently. But the hardest part about all of this is how the schools and the educators stood silent and had this kid standing alone in the moment. Yes, the state of Washington, according to policy analyst Aaron Reed, is the most trans-friendly state in the union with the best protections, at least by law. But where were the people? Where's the press? We'll look at that a little later on. But how about a little pride and joy before the break? Grand Slam track in Philadelphia, Nico Young, men's 3000. That kick is fire, baby. Young getting the win in the 3000 and reserving his place in the final Grand Slam round in the Olympic City, Los Angeles, later this month. And Trey Cunningham, for a model, he can run pretty fast. Dominant effort at Grand Slam Miami, backed it up by winning the hurdlers 100 meters and then finished third in the 110 hurdle. And Nikki Hiltz, they was doing what they do. Usual, fast, strong, at least in the 1500. They were a little behind, but they still rallied to third place. They fell back to seventh in the 800 the next day. Year in the guess, in the 1500, in the 800 rather, was third. Then the 1500 ended up seventh. This was also among the first sporting events as we headed in to Pride 2025, and Hiltz, they set the right mood.
Yeah, Pride Month's really special. It's, you know, it's a time for everyone to celebrate, like, finally being able to show up as themselves, and even for people who aren't out yet, it's a celebration, but it's also a protest of, like, you know, that started with riots at the Stonewall and led by Black trans women, and I don't know, it's really awesome and special, and I'm just really proud to be queer, and I'm proud of the community around me, and yeah, I just really felt the love out there. For sure.
When we return to Transposition Sports, Pride and Resistance, as a school board targeted by President Trump refuses to bow down, and the story of the past weekend and how the fourth estate missed the story. That and more to come. This is Transposition Sports. Stay with us.
Meow, yeah, 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 meow, yeah. Wait a minute, Kitty's gonna get it. 4 paws in when I'm standing on business. I'm the kitten, all the rhinos bitten. This show can't handle all the kittens that I'm getting. I'm not a beginner, no, I'm a winner. Hurry up, Karleigh, go get me my dinner. If Karleigh can spit rhymes, so can I. I'm Kirby the Cat. We'll be back.
But this is another example of how you just hate us. You just hate us. You just hate us, say Riley. You know you're really dumb. Still upset that a trans woman won. It's been 3 years, girl, ain't you tired? Leah is a champion. You're still a whiner.
I don't want to be considered a bigot or a transphobe.
She tied for 5th place and now she'll cause trouble. Riley Gaines is there. Riley Gaines, a real American transphobe. Riley Gaines is there. It's been 2 years, she's still jealous of Leah, and the trophies both look the same. Showed her transphobic ass for all to see, and Leah Thomas lives in her head rent-free. Riley Gaines, a real American transphobe. Riley Gaines is there.
Riley Gaines is the mouthpiece of conservative America's anti-transgender special mission force. Her purpose? Help take rights away from transgender Americans, all because she finished 5th at NCAA's and became a spoil sport loser.
She won't shut her mouth, she's a well-paid bigot, and Riley does not care. Riley Gaines, Riley Gaines.
I interrupt Transposition Sports because I'm cute, and I can't. And for this message from the angry gay grandpa. You don't pay me enough for this, Karleigh.
So maybe I'll start a little bit softer.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
Dad?
Before you say anything, I just want to apologize for what I said this morning. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If you want to change your name, if you want to wear a dress.
It's a skirt, Dad.
Skirt? I don't know the kind of support you need, but let's get you some for all this transgender stuff.
Wait. Are you serious? Dad, what is this?
Oh, this is me supporting you. This is me saying I love you. This is me not losing you.
Love you, Dad.
Love you. Holly.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Welcome back to Transposition Sports. I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb. There was trans joy in resistance earlier this week. The Trump administration has made a point to target school districts and universities who uphold inclusive policies with an eye of going towards schools that had previous high-profile transgender student athletes. One of those is Cromwell High School, Cromwell, Connecticut, which got a letter from the Department of Education basically holding a funding gun at the head of the district, saying either stop letting trans kids play or we cut your funding. And you only have a week to decide. Now, why was Cromwell targeted? Because of a transgender girl, now a transgender woman who got a graduate degree from Columbia a few weeks ago. Andrea Yearwood, state champion for Cromwell High 8 years ago. She graduated from Cromwell in 2020. Since then, she's been an undergrad at North Carolina Central, and as we mentioned just a minute ago, she got a graduate degree from Columbia. That's Ivy League if you're scoring at home. She is why the Trump administration is going after her alma mater. Well, a group of 50 protesters had a rally prior to a Cromwell school board meeting on Tuesday night. Now, why were they there? To speak out.
I'm here, and Transhaven is out here to stand in solidarity with the students here at Cromwell High School, the trans students and all the students here. They're under attack right now by the federal administration, who is, threatening them with cutting off funding, amongst other things, simply for supporting their students and creating like a healthy environment for their students to learn and grow in.
Trans girls are girls, trans boys are boys, and there are non-binary individuals who have needs as well. If the students, who are the principal people for whom the education system is built, recognize the basic humanity of their peers while they're preteens and teens, the least adults could do is take notice and look to a model of inclusivity and decency.
The response of the school board to the Department of Education letter, which was essentially a cease and desist aligned with Trump's previous executive orders, was not today. The school board said as such because those edicts violate Connecticut state laws. And without federal legislation, we're under no obligation to go along to get along. Now, Cromwell officials said that they are working with state legislators and the state high school sports governing body to continue to seek a resolution to the matter with the federal government. Now, the state of Connecticut is among a group of 18 states, all Democratic run, that are suing the Trump administration over this and other edicts.
Just trying not to get in my head and just relax, but it's a little harder this year. So, last year, everyone was no one cared. But this year, it's just different because all of a sudden everyone cares.
What they want to instead do is target children, literal children. Why do grown adults think it's okay to harass a child, let alone a transgender child?
In a time of 55.70 from East Valley of Spokane, Veronica Garcia.
It's Pride again, and in 2025, one thing is clear. It's going to be a lot less corporate because the big corporate money, it's shying away. rainbow capitalism is fading away, largely because of the anti-LGBTQ and anti-trans slant of who else? The Republicans.
Transphobia for a stronger America.
There will be no rainbows at the White House this year. In fact, the White House is saying that this June is Title IX month. Now that's rich given everything the GOP's done to kill it since a Republican president signed Title IX back in 1972. And it's interesting that you have President Trump talking about backing up women's sports in Title IX when some of his previous policies towards women sounded a lot like this.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the
Notice the press isn't talking about that, and notice how they've covered the situation that went on this past weekend in California. Everything has been about either the protests, the threats, yet nothing on this CIF policy, which basically othered A.B. Hernandez while trying to cover that part by trying to sell the support for A.B. as support for a compromise, where only A.B. Hernandez and kids like her have to compromise. Now, one thing I will give is some kudos to Capital in Maine. They're a California-based news media outlet, and they did give time for A.B. and her mother to tell their story from their perspective, even if it gave equal footing with the professional transphobes like State Assembly Representative Sonia Shaw, as unhinged as she is, constantly picking fights with Nareda Hernandez. And that leads me to the next critique, or lack thereof. Why not some time to trans voices in California who may disagree with the CIF policy? Now, anti-trans activists got all the camera time, but who spoke up for A.B. Hernandez or any other trans youth in this moment? Riddle me that. As much as I critique the situation in California, Washington State was far worse because no one stood up for Veronica Garcia. Her school didn't, her school district didn't, the press really didn't, not even her head coach did. And when she was the subject of the news stories, it was never her story. It was balanced with the voices of a lot of transphobes, be it elected or unelected, and maybe a neutral press release comment from the WIAA. A lot of time was given to the transphobes who are being egged on by the professional transphobes, and some are going to say that Garcia is the problem, especially with the way she clapped back and told people, get a life. Well, again, I agree with her, and I don't blame her for her frustration. She was right in saying that and right in calling that out, and she probably had more to say, but wanted to just take the step back and enjoy the win, and I can respect that. But I can't respect adults booing a kid. And I equally can't respect how young athletes would allow themselves to act in a classless manner. You know, all the things we teach young athletes about class, grace, sportsmanship. Tutwater's entire track team seemingly forgot that. Especially those kids wearing those t-shirts on that podium at that moment. No matter how you feel about that, putting it there on that podium, that's just bad sportsmanship. And I'll say it right now, if I was a coach and those kids did that, it'd be a cold day in hell before you ever ran for me. And the same thing with Lauren Matthew. To all those kids, I have a question for all of you. First, to your high schools. Do you realize that the message you sent is that LGBTQ students aren't safe at your high school? Trans students are not safe at your high school. Even though the state law in Washington says otherwise, you sent that message. And I'll say it. Are black and brown kids safe at your high school? Because I really believe if you scratch a transphobe, you'll find a racist underneath too. And I also ask that of all the kids, the Tutwater kids who wore those t-shirts on that podium, or Lauren Matthews, who felt the need to be photographed holding a sign saying, I'm the real state champion when you finish second. All of you, some of you are going to return to your high school next year. Some of you may go on to college. And I want to ask you a question. As you matriculate forward or return to your high school, Is an LGBTQ student in your school safe around you? Are black and brown students at your school safe around you? Remember, scratch the transphobe, find a racist. Would a teammate in high school or college who's LGBTQ be safe around you? Think about that and think about your actions this weekend, because it's a big, wide, wonderful world out there. Hashtag just saying. Now, to A.B. Hernandez and to Veronica Garcia, congratulations to both of you. You performed well in a very difficult situation. You rocked, and I salute you. And I know it wasn't easy, but just know I'm proud of you for the dignity you showed, the class you showed, and the grace that you all showed. And also a shout out to those kids in California who stood at the side of A.B. Hernandez, and those who said openly and publicly, we don't care about the noise. We're athletes, and we're going to carry ourselves as athletes in the highest regard. That's the way that my first coach and my dad taught me to carry myself as an athlete. And he's looking down at all of you proudly. Finally tonight, I want to give a shout out and kudos to someone in the Fourth Estate who, as my dad would say, done good, done real good. Bill Oram, lead sports columnist for the Oregonian newspaper, was the only journalist who last year, in the middle of the controversy over Ada Gallagher, who actually wrote the real story and took a lot of people to task for booing a high school kid. He did it with a mix of fury and with honor, befitting the best of the profession I'm proud to be a part of. Well, Mr. Oram did it again this past week. He told Gallagher's story in greater, even more human detail that you're looking at. You're looking at the headline right here, along with staff photographer Beth Nakamura, whose photography was excellent. See, you're probably wondering, where was Ada Gallagher this season? Oregon State track meet was also this past weekend. Gallagher wasn't there, and you remember her from last year. State champion in Oregon's Class 6A at the 200 meters, and a runner-up in one of the best races of the last high school season, a titanic clash against Joni Donaldson in the 400 meters, where Gallagher lost by just a hair. Gallagher was injured in a meet back in April and was out for the season. But before then, she was doing what a high-level track athlete does against kids who are running track for the gym class credit. She was dominant, and she drew the ire of the Outkicks and Fox News and all those folks again. Oram posted a story in the Oregonian this past weekend which told Gallagher's story, an intimate portrait into a young girl trying to figure it all out and play the sport she loves. It was revealed in the story that after this school year, Gallagher and her family will move out of Oregon and move to Canada because the climate here has gotten so toxic, especially in the last year. You remember, this kid got booed at the state meet just for being a transgender girl who enjoyed her sport and was good enough at it to win a championship. And Oram gave us a portrait into this kid, a human portrait. Something that many news outlets in this country, big and small, yes, New York Times, I'm looking at you, refuse to do. It's something that a lot of news desks and stations in California and Washington State refuse to do. Mr. Oram, I'm proud that you're part of the craft and profession that I'm a part of. Again, you done good. You done real good. And as a journalist, as a trans person, and as an athlete, I say thank you. Happy Pride, everybody. For Transposition Sports, I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb.